Alright guys, we have Eka versus Eshwar in what's going to be a fantastic best of 3. And to start with, we've been given Tundra. So we've got Eka spawning up here, top side of the map, the yellow Persian, and his opponent today, his own brother, the Kelt, the purple Eshwar. So this should be a very, very fun game to watch here. Eshwar has a really nice scatter of his hunts, with 5 of them directly around the storehouse there. So it's going to be a very, very efficient gather for him. Eka has 2 fairly close, and then one fairly close, 2 a little bit further away. Also reasonably close. Sometimes you can just get a bit of a bad hunt. Eshwar probably could have actually put the storehouse here, sort of done away with the efficient deer gathering. Actually gained the fact that he would been able to go on the woodline efficiently. So these are all decisions you guys can look to make, depending on what you want to do with the game, depending on how aggressively you want to go, whether you want to, say, open up with hurley spears, or really look at trying to push out a lot of fishing ships on this map, because being Tundra, that's what you're able to do. So good luck, have fun to these guys. Neither of them have actually said GLF, HF to one another, but Eshwar, the safe, really safe woodline there. Eka with one as well, but it's a pretty crappy one ultimately there. A little bit more wood down here. But we already have barracks here for both players, so this is very interesting to see both of them going super aggressively. Eshwar adding in hunting dogs, Eka. I don't believe he's got it yet, so Eshwar will have the upper hand in a sense, but Eka is going to have the opportunity to open with the dock, because he's skipping the wood commitment of the hunting dogs. Eshwar all the way up to 19 pop. Eka at 16. He's actually stopped his Spyro production for the minute. Actually, he's not gathering enough food to actually maintain it. But Eshwar is coming in to hit Eka. He's just trying to get some sheep. So, unfortunately for him, I think they're going to get intercepted. In fact, Eshwar choosing to ignore it. He's going to go straight towards the villagers. No, he's going to take the fight actually. There's only 2 Spyro here. He's focusing down one. So really nice damage. Control the damage. Damage control, I was going to say. I suppose that's what it is. But a villager being picked off here of Eka. He gets the other 4 out fine. Eshwar does snipe 1 overall. Eka getting his A10. Eshwar right now just producing villagers. Stopped his spear production for now. I think he's going to try and transition to his age 2 by the look of it. Oh no, he's adding another villager. He's just a bit slow on that from the previous, because he could have fit that in. But Eka behind this, taking the dock. Eshwar still maintaining a land only economy, so I think Eshwar is going to try and do another run. See if he can snipe another villager or 2. Eka housed at the moment, so that's going to harm his production a little. Eshwar continuing to produce spears, but he's actually transitioning to age 2. Well, right now he's going to get one of the Spara of Eka's. So the storehouse under grave threat. It's going to go down. And so far the A10 hasn't really paid off for Eka. It hasn't really been of any notable value for him. So that's another commitment he's had to make right now. But he is going to be getting the water. So he's on a fishing ship. He's going to add a second. Eshwar instead choosing to age up. And he's going to have the stone and the wood for his town centre. But like I said, no water economy for him just yet. So, man, I've been really anticipating this matchup, because this is the next GUA versus I Am Soldier. Like, can you imagine that, man? This is already reasonably greedy town centre, but, you know, I say reasonably because he's got the pressure on his opponent. Eshwar was pretty comfortable in actually taking a distant one at this stage. It may come to harm him later on in the game, but right now, it's going to be pretty safe and secure while he's assaulting the dock of Eka, who's trying to focus down the spears for now. He can always repair this as it gets a little bit lower. And right now he's picked off a spear of Eshwar. He's probably going to get another, but he really needs to... Oh, he does too. He does get another, but he's going to focus on the fishing immediately after doing so. So that's a nice play there from Eka on the defense, even though it does cost him a little bit of gathering time. He's going to get his H2 now, pumping out a third fishing ship as well. Eshwar getting a long swordsman and a second barracks. Eka for now hasn't had another production facility. He's going to try and take another hunt over here, and this time he's got a favourable fight. So at 4 to 6 his way in unit count, he really is going to drive those spears back. And Eshwar in the meanwhile getting his handsaw. Eka, well, he's just adding houses for now. Don't see any more production from him just yet. So he's at 22 villages. So Eshwar's 24, and right now with that second town centre, Eka is going to have to keep pumping out fishing ships and immediately throw up his next town centre in order to really be able to match that. So he's going to get the town centre, but he's not actually producing anything at the moment. He really needs to get those houses up right now. He might be best off combining villages, getting 2 or even 3, building a house up just to spend some of these resources, because he's got a huge food bank at the moment. He can really... Well, he's getting loom, that's a good idea. He could probably even fit in conditioning. Really, he probably could have queued up loom and conditioning just to keep those buildings occupied, keep the spending going, keep himself at an advantageous position, because right now he is actually outgathering Eshwar slightly. I think he's down by 4 villages, but he's actually got that those 3 fishing ships out. He's actually, even in terms of upgrades, he's going to get a handsaw in a sec. Second town centre about to go down. Eshwar just opening on the dock now. Eka probably could afford to get net lures, because any civ that can get the conservation tech line, and I think they all can in PvP, it's only PvE that it's different, some do and some don't. It's always worth working towards. It just makes these schools worth so much more. Anyway, there's more spy here on the defense for Eka, but he's not adding any more at this stage. Some more defending his base as well, so it's a good idea to actually split them up. Eshwar has a spear up here, just making sure there's nothing running out of Eka's base. At the same time, well, he's kept everything back in his base, sorry. Adding rangers, 2 rangers now, so Eka really needs to look at adding production, because right now Eshwar is going to have the opportunity to really push straight into him. There's a range coming out now from Eka, but he really needs to get a stables and then either another range or stables by now if he wants to be able to keep up with Eshwar's production, because he's going to need to be able to either threaten this front line or threaten this back line in order to keep the pressure off himself, to make up for the fact that he's not really spending as effectively as his brother right now. So Eshwar keeping his resources down somewhat. He probably could fill up his queues right now. Just make sure he pumps out as many spearmen, as many slingers as he can. There we go, he's got more in queue. He's actually, oh, he's fit in a little proxy dock here, so I did miss this. This makes things very, very interesting, because Eka, I don't believe, is aware of this at all. So Eshwar going to be a huge threat to Eka's water economy right now. There's a single dock, it is damaged, there's 4 fishing ships, so they can sort of repair and micro amongst themselves till a warship comes out, and actually be a bit advantageous unless Eshwar follows up with another one immediately, so then he's sort of really committing to the proxy. But yeah, this is under a bit of threat unless Eka scouts this out and figures it out before Eshwar decides to add more ships and maintain enough on the land to be able to defend in case Eka pushes. Right now he does have that production lead. He's adding an armory too. So stables, I mean no stables, sorry. No, there is a stables, alright. Stables, 2 range there from Eka, so nice to see that. But Eshwar deciding to move out now. Eka still hasn't spotted this. Very, very dangerous. It's 2 fishing ships, they're all alone. Oh, second swan ship coming out here. Big boy Eshwar is just going to steamroll his brother here. Unless Eka has something up his sleeve and is really able to defend well. All fishing ships bunched up. I'm not sure which is worse, only having 2 or all 4 there. because you can repair one a little bit quicker, but at the same time your opponent can just splash onto everything. Eshwar moving in with his units, keeping just out of distance while he maintains his production, I think. He's going to get a third warship just in case. EKA starting to add Asabara. Eshwar starting to push into him now. So the Asabara addition really makes this a bit threatening, because every time Eshwar backs out, he's going to have to guard his slingers, because if Asabara chase, especially when he's got no spears, he can really cop a huge hit, but at the same time, he's just deleted EKA's warship, which I think was pretty much unmicroed while he was trying to save himself here back at home. So Eshwar putting himself in a really dominant position here, EKA having to guard tower his dock while his opponent's not keeping an eye on it, not attacking it. I think Eshwar's anticipating some ships to just finally stumble out here from EKA under the pressure, but ooh, just because the guard tower didn't finish up in time, Eshwar's actually gonna try and finish it off, but EKA microing his villages. Oh, just goes down the worst time. So EKA committing nearly all the resources and getting none of the value out of it. So he probably would have actually been worth deleting that. The micro was really nice to see, but at the same time, that cost him more in the end than just deleting it and getting out. And now he's going to lose that water anyway. He's going to have to try and take it somewhere else. And Eshwar's already prepared to deny villages there. So EKA is going to have to take it only just south of this other dock. Eshwar continuing to mass up production at home. Mass up units outside the base of EKA. He's going to start adding in some woads as well. This last batch of slingers, I think he's probably going to go woad bowman after this. And then maybe get a couple of horsemen too if he sees the Asabara count start to get out of control. That's all you got to do as a Kelt player from this point on. But this slinger micro, holy, he needs to really focus these bowmen, because focusing on the front line on these spearmen with the bowmen does bugger all damage. The Sparabara, their armor, their pierce armor is at 0.5, so they're only taking 3.5 damage per hit. Whereas the bowmen, they'd be taking an awful lot of damage, and they don't even have the health pool. So that was a really not bad fight there for Eshwar. Even though he is denying EKA here, back on the land, EKA took a much nicer fight there. Because the bowman really can just focus on the front line of the Kelt player, while the Kelt player, his back line needs to be focused on the back line of the Persian player. So the onus is sort of on the Kelt player to have the upper hand in the micro in the fight, and Eshwar wasn't taking it, but EKA now having to back off because he just doesn't really have the units out in the field, hasn't really been spending effectively enough. Being denied here on the water's probably thrown off his game a bit. He's probably umming and ahhing about whether or not he wants to try and take this back, or just sacrifice all this, lose as little as he can in terms of units, and just rebuild up here against this column. There is going to be horsemen and woads coming out here for Eshwar, so this is really going to make it hard for the Persian player to just rely on bowmen and, well, just basically an H2 frontline here of Asabara, Spara champion, and bowman. EKA really going to have to look at getting immortals, maybe mounted archers if he needs to deal with a huge number of horsemen, and maybe some Takabara as well, just to deal with the bowman. If not get Asabara champion and get a lot of Asabara too. He could possibly do that and really look at raiding Eshwar around the map. He is going to possibly try and reverse proxy dock here. EKA. I think he's going to get away. Oh, Eshwar is going to scout it. Eshwar's going to scout it. Eshwar's seen it. Eshwar has seen it. Oh, I think he's going to deny it. So he is. So Eshwar is going to throw down. Oh no, Eshwar's coming down. And he's going to try and, interrupt it. And he's going to be able to with only 2 villages. This is the most interesting fight going on the map right now, but ooh, juicy. Is the dock going to go up? Is the dock going to go up, guys? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go up? Oh! It's a horseman here as well. Oh, the villager. Oh, the villager's done his job. Oh, no immediate galley queue up here from EKA though, so it's pointless. He's going to lose the dock anyway. EKA It's been denied by Eshwar here in his attempt to reverse proxy dock his opponent. So he's just going to lose the dock for nothing. Poor bloke. The stress of the show match is getting to him. And Eshwar's going to seize the opportunity. He's a little bit ahead in terms of score, and he's going to know about that in game. So right now, EKA is sort of waiting for some upgrades, even trying to add a ram ship back at home. Eshwar, meantime, is pushing up. There's a nice front line here, but now that he's got the words, he needs to focus on getting him to the back line of EKA, which he's not. And same with the slingers, the bowmen, really not being attacked by the counters. But I don't think it matters because EKA just doesn't have the units out in the field. He's got plenty in the bank, but Eshwar is just spending a little bit better, and he's putting a lot more pressure on the map with that proxy, with all these pushes. So EKA hasn't really taken a fight over Eshwar's side of the map at all. He's been denied a couple of times, but other than that previous fight where EKA really was allowed to push out, he's not really taken any nice fights. This time Immortal versus Slinger. A little bit Immortal favoured. Not the most ideal fight there from either side, but now Eshwar's massive army coming in on a small army here of EKA, so EKA is going to really struggle in the defense here. He's really falling behind on score. Poor friend. I think he's been overwhelmed. Eshwar finishing up his combined arm, so he's going to be able to max out really quickly behind this if he drops any units, and EKA taps out for game number 1. GG, well played, fellas. Can't wait for game number 2. I hope EKA wins the next game. I'm really rooting for him. I really want to see a nice best of 3 series between them. It goes to 3 games, and I think they've got it in them. I think you guys really want to see that too. Eshwar just really cleaning up EKA with a successful proxy, successful couple of pushes there. Even, yeah, let's just snipe a villager early on and get out for pretty much nothing. And a couple of Sparrow. So all game it looked as though he was in control for the most part. EKA I think was a bit slow on production and a bit slow to spend. But GG, well played nonetheless to both players. Now, anyway, we're going to go to game 2 in a minute. I'll just see whether our players are ready. Alright guys, so we got a Babylonian versus Egyptian this time, with EKA swapping to Babs from Persian and Eshwar swapping to Egyptian from his Kelt. So good luck, have fun fellas. We're going to see what map we're going to get, and it's Savannah. So it's a map that hasn't been seen for a little while in the PvP map pool, but it's going to be great nonetheless. So crack a coldie and dig in. Alright, so spawning. It's a purple player today. We have Eshwar taking the first game in the series today with an impressive Kelt display. And his opponent today, his brother, EKA, swapping to Babylonian. So we're going to see something really deadly here, I believe. He's already up. So 4 villagers on the hunt. Distance. Gathering wood for a bit though. He really should probably cancel these and get an ox cart out as quick as he can. Send this villager together from here, minimize his gathering time. Maybe could have even sent it over here and then sent the ox cart here, if he'd wished to, and then always pulled it back here once you get raided. So, EKA, I think in a fairly late ox cart here, considering he's still gathering wood. He's not, and he's gathering it over here. He's not getting it over here after getting wood initially to throw up a barracks or something. Anyway, I'll talk about Savannah a bit. So, a lot like inland, you can spawn with a number of different little pools around the map. But unlike inland, rather than being like a big, well, let's not say what shape. Basically, there are always these little circles, and there's no fish in them, so neither player is really going to be incentivized to take them. So I think both players are going to play fairly greedily or defensively on the land here. Let's see. Yep, stone gathering and wood gathering before any production. H2 town, so I mean H2 temple going up here. Temple of Ra for Eshwar. EKA in the meanwhile, maybe not far off throwing down his ziggurat. So these are the two civilizations where you actually throw down a temple building to get your age 2. And then Egyptians, they throw down 2 more temples, one for age 3 and then one for age 4. While Babylonian can use their ziggurat to get their age 3 and 4 upgrades, unlike every other civilization which have to get them through their town center. So both these civilizations are the only ones that can maintain continuous unit production throughout the whole game, as long as they want to skip loom and wheelbarrow, if they wish to do so. Or if they wanted to, you know, really only have to break it for those. Now Eshwar aging up, EKA not far off his. So I think we're going to see some cavalry aggression here. And EKA, I think is actually going to be a bit on the back foot age 2. If he basically has forced himself to play in this from this position, Lancers versus Camels, it means he's going to have to get Spearmen anyway before he gets to age 3 if he's going to play the aggressor. And if he plays defensively, well, he's going to have to still micro the Lancers or any of his ox carts and villager clusters away from the resource nodes in order to minimize any damage he takes before he gets Lancer Champion and access to his mounted archers, because he really needs either or both of those to be able to fight camels head on, and they've actually just been buffed, the camels. So Eshwar going to be making great use of the fact that they've got 20 armor, which even benefits them early on, so it makes them more effective against Lancer, Asabara, and raider openings from opponents. So Egypt is going to be in a much better spot in the early, mid and late game now, I think. Based off the fact that camels are just so much more versatile in doing their actual role across all the matchups. You know, throughout the whole game. Not only are they just a good early game pushing or defending tool now against the units they've always supposed to counter. In the mid and late game against the units where they, you know, they counter one another effectively. It's a counter v counter situation against other anti-cav. They're actually going to start pulling their weight again, when really they've always sort of been the underperformer of the group. I think since all the other Celeste Busters have come through on all the other units, so they've addressed that now, and it'll be really interesting to see how well Egypt can be played in the well, throughout the whole game, based off the camel play. Transitions to it, or just even having games like this where you can just open straight onto double, triple, quad stables, not even having to throw down a barracks early on. Both players with fairly spread bases, though Eshwar noticeably distant town centres, while EKA's fairly close. EKA still gathering about 100 at the back of his base, but I suppose that's his first hunt. His base is a little bit clustered overall, but he's ultimately still going to have to spread to get all these resources down here. But yeah, Eshwar with a much greedier second town centre. So there's actually, I've been proven wrong. Eshwar is going to open with barracks. He's going to get axemen. Well, there is stables and a barracks here for EKA, so neither player is really opting to play super raid heavy. I think they're going to play very death ball-y style, so Eshwar's massing up priestesses, so he's probably going to go for a minimal camels number, and yeah, actually get a whole bunch of axemen out. And the Babylonian doesn't actually have an anti-infantry unit till age 3, which by then you can actually get axemen champion. So you're not actually pushed as the Egyptian player into holding out till age 3 to actually make good use of your axemen in this situation, because you can just use them to clean up any attempt the Babylonian's going to have at cleaning up your camels. So it's a really nice opening here for Eshwar, considering EKA probably would like to play around his stables as well. So all he's got to do is keep adding his barracks too, and he can go Lancer Spearman, and both players are really just going to have to watch their micro in fights, and whoever manages to basically focus their targets counters wise much more effectively is going to be the winner. It'll be a bloodbath, I think, but Eshwar at the same time is going to have that nice amount of healing with those 4 priestesses. EKA hasn't taken pharmacology just yet, but he has taken the unique wood tech, the wood and berries conservation tech. I can't remember what it's actually called for Babylonian. Someone in the chat could fill us in, enlighten us. So 5 idle priestesses here for Eshwar, really? Oh, this is nice. Just as I'm criticizing his macro, he's raiding really nicely. He's got 3 camels, perfect number to just pick off units. Sniping a villager, taking one down to about 2/3 health. Same time picking off EKA as scout. But what I'm saying, 5 idle priestesses, sorry, and he can use them to get this built faster, gather more wood, gather more stone, gather more gold, you know, while they're not actually taking the fight, and then pull all of them except the TC and the armory one off when he actually wants to take a fight. But it looks as though Eshwar has actually lost his camels, so EKA managing to come off the better there. Eshwar's camels would have run straight into those spears and it wouldn't have been close. Considering the damage that they've taken, I think they would have all stuck around, but ultimately got their ass whooped. Well, there is some more camels and these axemen back at home for Eshwar, so this is a nasty composition for EKA to deal with until he adds bowman in, or something of that nature, or techs up to age 3 to really spice things up. Oh, here we go. He is actually adding in bowmen and slingers. And the lancers are repelling Eshwar's food gatherers here. And these lancers sticking around to fight the camels. They are holding up the rest of the army, but at the same time they aren't going to last much longer. EKA is going to get a couple of veal kills for this though. So right now he's on 53 villages to Eshwar's 46. He seems to be ahead in terms of gatherers. Picks off another villager, so 45 to 54. He's up by 9 villages at the moment. And he's working towards his age 3 already. Eshwar, no age 3 temple going down to my knowledge just yet. But he is up by 1 population and is pushing up across the map, so EKA under a bit of threat now. Actually, it's only going to take a couple of units for these villagers to really be repelled off this hunt. But EKA does have a nice food bank at this point. He doesn't want to bank up too much more because otherwise he's really going to start putting himself on the back foot when he actually wants to go take Lancer Champion, because he's actually going to need more Lancers out in the field, which will really be a huge benefit. So he is having to defend on his doorstep. He's got a good spearman count. There's a nice number of priestesses. It's a good spear count here for EKA, and he does have these ranged units in amongst the buildings that are really putting in work unanswered. There's no slingers in the back line for Eshwar, so his whole army is really being butchered right now. The front line ultimately being collapsed upon and forced to flee there. And EKA maintaining a little population lead now. He's actually come out of that 30 pop ahead. He's going to try and run by with some lancers, but it's coming straight past the army of Eshwar. So right now he's got 10 speed lancers versus 11 speed camels. He's going to have to do something quick before he loses all these fellas. At the same time, he's looking to try and maneuver his army elsewhere. He needs to get a hit with these guys though, because he can't just bleed lancers forever, and he needs to really look at getting champion before he attacks the camels. And then once they get camel champ, he's going to need to add mounted archers in to really stick around and take fights. But yeah, 20 melee cav armor on these camels. Nice little boost for them. So EKA adding the last of his gardens until he ages up. Eshwar adding some more production. He's got 2 barracks and he's got 5 stables. He's adding a 3rd barracks. EKA 2 stables, 1 barracks, 1 range for the time being. So he's on 72 villages to Eshwar's 59. I think he really could look at adding another barracks in, or another stables here, just to really add a bit more bulk to his army, because he's only up by 25 population at the moment, even though he came off that fight about 35 ahead. Getting cultivation now, so a really nice tech, because these gardens gather another quarter of food per second each. So you got 7 of them and you're actually getting a couple of food every second. So EKA getting a nice little food ticker there. He's actually finding it hard to spend all the food that he can. And now that there's chariots in the mix and slingers, he probably could even just get a small number of shield bearers if he wanted, just to blow some of that food. Because Babylonian, it's often hard actually managing to spend all your food, considering you actually need to spend a lot of gold for your army. Lancers only costing 10 less gold than food, and spears actually costing 10 more. Bowmen eventually only costing wood, but they do cost 10 gold. Slingers costing more gold than wood. Mounted archers costing more gold than wood as well, so wood is really the resource Babylonian struggles with. Particularly, wood and gold are particularly the resources that Babylonian struggles with, particularly because they've got to invest in the gardens. or the gardens generate it for free, but this is a really nice catch here for Eshwar because he's killed a whole bunch of villagers. EKA down to 64 to Eshwar's 74. That's actually a huge blow. He's killed about 9 or 10 there, and now he's taking a nice fight. So EKA really down in terms of population, and he's only really got melee armor upgrade. EKA having melee damage age 3 upgrade as well, so Eshwar basically an age down in the upgrade that he's got. Neither player really having a lot of upgrades at all, but it's now really leveled out a fight because EKA's maintained his backline. Eshwar, his doesn't seem to be doing as much of an effect to his opponent for the time being. Axeman Champion is on, and there is some camels, there is some chariots now, so as that number builds up, and they do have their range damage H2 upgrade now. Well, there's range armor upgrade here for the Babylonian, and melee infantry damage. Melee damage. So there's just damage upgrades here for Eshwar, just armor upgrades here for EKA. It's interesting. The differences, just EKA at first, but he does have melee damage. He's just, I think, was getting his range upgrade. But both players sort of leveling out in terms of population now. They're just stuck about 140 apiece. Big bunch of camels looking to move out now. They've got champion. Big bunch of lancers looking to move out now with champion. They are going to get a couple of snipes, but they can't stick around for forever here. They're fighting into their counter. They're fighting into a area damage unit and a backline ranged unit that's really good at everything. So the lance is going to fall eventually. They really look at either backing out and charge cycling and having their own rage back them up here. So Eshwar taking a nice fight here, but his own army is now split, and so only the camels are chasing, and EKA returning the favour now. He's picking off a handful of the front line for free. So neither player doing particularly wonderful jobs at army control there. Both sort of bleeding a couple of units for free instead of really pushing with everything, or sort of using the opportunity with the pressure to actually raid all these units they've both got relatively undefended all around the map here. A big cluster of mounted archers from EKA heading out towards the market of Eshwar. So, oops. EKA doesn't know about it, but he's probably expecting something. He's headed some units up towards the gold mine. He's just parking them there. We're expecting to be hit himself, and Eshwar's going to catch a whole bunch of villagers here. So there's 14 villagers. EKA Eshwar actually getting his own villagers out there, so EKA missing the stone mine, but he's going to come down and be able to deal with this. So the camels are going to back out, because ultimately that is a trade that they're not going to win in the end if the mounted archers are microed. The fight's going down. Both players maxed out now in age 3. Eshwar getting his chainmail and leather armor. His age 3 armor upgrade. He's got all of his damage upgrades, I believe. Oh no, yeah, he's got all his damage upgrades. EKA still struggling with his upgrades here, I believe. Doesn't really have a ranged upgrade at all, and his whole front line has just been slaughtered. So he does have his melee damage upgrade, but yeah, right now his whole front line has gone down. Things looking really drastic for him, but Eshwar's front line as well, pretty much all KIA. So both players just massing up units once again to try and push with 180. EKA though struggling a little bit because he's not got a lot of gold in the bank. He's got plenty of food, plenty of wood, but his gold count is struggling a little bit. And Eshwar has a little bit more even spending, and right now he's maxed out. He's just struggling with his food bank, but at the same time It's no huge drama, and ooh, that's really sucking for EKA, all this distance gathering. The villagers are still doing it. They're just going on a big merry-go-round here. They walk up one side of this wood line and down the other. That's really going to hurt EKA's ability to pump out units right now, because he's only just hit 170 pop and Eshwar's at 180. So right now EKA defending on his front line. He sent that ox cart out to try and rectify the problem, but it's going to get tracked down, and then once it does, all the villagers will get scouted as well. So not good for EKA at all, and Eshwar is pushing into his brother. No front line from EKA, the Babylonian player, really struggling to defend right now, and Egyptian player has him hot on his heels. Eshwar doesn't have a lot of food in the bank though, so he's just struggling to get the camels out, but well, he's pretty much maxed still, and he's going to pick off this encampment of gold gatherers, and this is really going to harm EKA, who, yeah, he's managed to gather a little bit more gold, but this is going to slow him down because he's not going to have as much at his disposal. Eshwar's really expanded all over the map. EKA in a really dire position here. Thank you for the follow. And we got another engagement going down, but EKA hitting the back of Eshwar's army here, so this is good because he's going to kill a couple of chariots early on here. His own backline's being hit by camels, but he does have some shield bearers here to at least keep the damage off the range. But EKA still down by a little bit of population. Eshwar, I think he's in a bit of a decisive position. EKA holding on with everything he's got. He's still got a little bit of food in the bank, but now he's spent nearly all of that. He's relying heavily on being able to spend this wood, which he's got plenty of. I think that's really keeping his score up, because EKA knocking on his door right now. His house is going to go down too, so EKA is going to have to replace that one quickly. While all this is going on, not that he is going to struggle in terms of the wood, but his food, really rough position for him. He's having to spend so much in terms of a front line, but he's just not getting any value out of it because he's not winning any of these trades. But Eshwar sacrificing a couple of camels there, over-rallied them, but at the same time, he's picking on EKA's gold here. He's mining this forward gold deposit, so that's really going to harm EKA's ability to gather any without getting some camels. I mean, without getting some chariots. And right now, Eshwar punishing EKA on the gold gathering. Only down here is all he's got left for his gold gathering. And Eshwar hitting age 4, chariot archer champion coming out, but he is going to have to defend against these villagers right now. So EKA hitting back. Managed to force the villager pullback. He's going to try and take a fight now. So Eshwar straight back on that gold mine. He wants to finish it off. Force EKA going to get his market line up somewhere, but EKA trying to take the best fight he can. He's still holding on, but he's down by about 20 pop. He's been spending most of the game in this sort of situation. EKA going to have to defend against Eshwar's forward fortress now, so that gold mine, once it's all out, Eshwar's just going to put everything on that, get that up as quick as he can, I think. EKA is going to snipe it with some villagers, so holy. Nice play from him. But are they going to get that? Oh no, they're going straight to the gold mine? No, they're going straight past the gold mine. Oh, EKA, I was just commending you. I thought you were going to try and snipe this with the villagers, but instead, you're just going from some suicide rally. Eshwar's just going to clean all that up in a minute. But at the same time, has he pulled too many units? Because EKA is going to try and get onto this fortress before Eshwar finishes it off. But he's going to switch his tactic and try and focus on the army if he can. He's got a bunch of chariot archers, but I'm not sure why he's bothering when he probably should just bother with getting more lancers, more mounted archers himself to deal with these chariot archers of the Egyptian. Does have that market line, but I don't know if it's great. Let me just check quickly. So it's only 22 gold, so Eshwar really punishing EKA in terms of map control, and EKA forced to taking a really crappy market line for only 22 gold. You can get up to 150, so it's really harming him right now. Eshwar maxed out age 4, EKA down to 120 pop. He's still producing everything he can. He's spending up what he's got, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He's constantly on the back foot here. He's forced off all these farms, so his food income's hurt. His gold income is reliant on this really, really inefficient market, which is also under a constant threat. All these caravans are falling for him too. Eshwar, 96 villages, EKA 72. He's food broke now. He's gold broke. Not really any stone for catching up in upgrades. There's a bunch of idle priestesses here just sort of chilling. Getting a new tan out in the sun. But yeah, I don't think EKA is going to be able to repel this at all. Eshwar is maintaining maxing, and GG is called. EKA taps out. Well played today, guys. Thank you for coming, both of you. Some impressive games. Ultimately, Eshwar proving to be a bit stronger today, and I'll be interested to see what happens next time between these two.
Ahura Mazda bless you.
Thank you for the follow. Alright guys, so we got Kaspara and Crimson Kentab in the building today. Now, we have a Babylonian versus Persian today. So, hold on to your hats, folks. Because what map have we got now? Let's have a little look. We've been given Arabia. Now, I will take it away in just a moment, folks. We're having an Arabia show match we haven't had for a little while, I don't think. The Crimson Kentab, oh no, Kaspara here, spawning as the teal Persian player, and as the green Babylonian player, we've got Crimson Kentab. I really like this, really efficient, really nice, nice. He knows what he wants to do until he finds a hunt. I think he's probably got the game plan here. And oh no, he's going pickets for these. Well, that's really smart. Really smart, Crimson. Really smart. I like it. I like it. Me like it. So Kaspara and Crimson just going for the berries for now. They're both taking their pickers. Crimson's is a little bit slower. Kaspara got his as soon as he threw down his storehouse. Funnily enough, his is quicker, even though he didn't have an ox cart to start the game with. But I suppose that just comes down to Crimson. We're finding that he didn't have a terribly easy hunt here on the low ground. So considering Kaspara hasn't really gone for that at all himself, we'll give it a miss. He's really scouted his high ground more than anything. He's only just doing a wraparound scout now. He hasn't even checked here, I don't think. Unless he did quickly before he backed off. But look at that cool tile set. Really pretty map, the tile set on this, to be honest. I do like Arabia, I just hate the way it plays out. It's such a big map, so it makes for really long games, you know. Such a long travel distance with the rush as well, so I don't like those aspects about it, considering you can't really make use of the fishing. Most players don't anyway. I like to, but most don't. It's like Kaspara doing a bit of a check. Crimson's base. Crimson hasn't actually scouted Kaspara just yet, but he's coming through to do so now. He's gonna go check the wood line first. He doesn't actually know what all this actually looks like yet. As you all know, as we all know as we play the game. So Crimson throwing down his ziggurat now. Kaspara aging up now as well. We've seen one storehouse. He's finding the wood line now. Hasn't actually even seen the berries yet. Now he's seeing it. He's going to get out there before he loses too much health. Oops. Leave that in place. This hippo's hungry. He wants to be fed. He wants to nom on a villager. Desperately. We're going to see a lot of cavalry here. Neither player possesses an anti-cavalry unit in Age 2 out of the stables. They both got really nice specialist cavalry though, in the way of lancers and Asabara. So both of them getting their Age 2. As far as sending 5 villagers. Crimson sending 4 and his ox cart. So neither player's looking to really... Well, neither player's really in the position to deny the town centre at all with their scout. Crimson's brought the ox cart here, it's just funny to see. He's going to take his handsaw now. Kaspara hasn't taken the upgrade just... Well, no, he actually has taken it as well. He's already taken it immediately. Amazing. Kaspara's eco upgrade timing impeccable. He must have got that as soon as he aged up. Crimson's is only just finishing up now. Kaspara's was done the whole time I was waffling on then. Wonderful play. So both players going to be working towards the stables, I'd imagine. Kaspara throwing in a quick pickaxe as well before he commits to one. In fact, he might even just get a couple of spearmen first to just defend. Or might even just take a quick age 3. The stable's going to come down here from Crimson, which immediately gets scouted here from Kaspara. Stables here from Kaspara. Really nice map for the cavalry play here. For both players. Going to be gathering with underneath their TCs completely for the time being, so it's going to be hard to try and get some value out, although the gardens are going to be outside of TC fire, so that makes them a little bit easier to try and snipe. Not backed up against any buildings, but it's hard to get us around, I guess. Once you maybe get a house here, one here, and then throw down more gardens here with houses in front. So another stable's coming out here for Kaspara. Barracks actually is a second production facility here for Crimson. He's throwing down more gardens as well. Big thank you to Kaspara for actually stepping up to fill this one in at a moment's notice. Crimson's watch post. Actually not seen there by Kaspara, it's just inside, I mean just outside the vision range. He's going to snipe the watch post nonetheless, because you must have seen the scout there. Must have seen as he moved out with the Asabara. So Crimson this time is going to try and hit with 4 lances while those Asabara were attempting to move out. Nice from him, but there is a tent and there is these Asabara here to defend. Cass has already got his age 3. Crimson hasn't taken his just yet. Just waiting on a little bit more food to be able to do so. Lancer. I mean, the Asabara is under a bit of threat. Asabara pulls it out, and now the Lancers need to be microed. Asabara, I think he's best to micro now. He's added the mounted archers in though, so the Lancers had a bit of a disadvantage. No charge on them. Spearmen are going to have to go straight on the Asabara, and the Lancers are going to have to go straight on the mounted archers here for this to really be a worthwhile trade for Crimson, because he is down by an age. He's adding in a couple of bearers, but he's really struggling with the food income. Probably needs a tech to age 3 and get his champion upgrade here. And saying that, he's got a nice number of units. He's managing to, for now, push Kaspara back underneath the 8 tents. Although really he could put one Kaspara here and one here and get the most value out of it, which he's going to do so now. So you see he's moved them all within the range, so he's getting the value out of all 3 of those. On the Asabara, it's actually a really nice value, considering they're going to be tanking a lot of damage for this army of Kaspara. He doesn't have a lot of units out in the field. Crimson is actually up in terms of population at the moment. Kaspara's really opted to try and wall up, but Crimson's really gone all in on an age 2 army, and in fact he's got quite a big bank here. Kaspara is actually housed at the moment, and this 3rd town centre is going to get sniped, so Kaspara at a bit of a disadvantage right now, but it's a really safe 3rd town centre attempt, and Crimson is going to try and focus it down again. But now he's actually going straight on the villages. This is going to hurt Kaspara more, actually, because he's going to have to do nothing with them for the time being. And the town centre getting focused down again. So Crimson's really putting the pressure on Kaspara at the moment. Continuing to add villages and units to his army. He's on 45 to 48 villages at the moment, but he needs to get the food desperately to get some more army out and get that age up, because right now Kaspara's caught up. He's defended really well here. He's going to get that town centre. A bit of a battle there, but he's got it in the end. And right now his eco's in a nicer shape, I think, because that 3rd town centre is eventually going to finish up. Crimson's going to have a bit of time before he actually has the Lancer Champion or has the mounted archers to really be able to deal with the Persian comp. Oh, he is adding a good number of infantry. Really nice snipes there to get in behind that house. Kaspara's already committed to walling up. He has lost that villager up there. We need a defensive guard tower now while he sends a fleet of mounted units here. We're going to be travelling at 10 speed. Not sure if he knows about this hunt, but oh no, here he's spotted it, so he's going to double back onto it to pick off the ox cart and the villagers. While Crimson going to come back and try and respond to this and try and fold on the army. Not with everything though, he's just bringing the lancers. Oh no, he's going to bring everything, because these lancers themselves, they can't stick around to fight. There's no champion upgrade on them just yet. Crimson can afford it though. Oh no, he's still only age 2. So he needs to get his age 3 underway. Kaspara's hold on to his for about 3 minutes now, so 3 or 4 minutes now, so the market attempt being denied. Kaspara going to be able to safely throw his up by the looks of things. And the mounted archers, a couple of Asabaras at front line, sneaking into the base of Crimson right now. Resourcefulness on the way, but he's going to have to defend with all his life because the villagers are going to go down here. The mounted archers have only got one Asabara to defend, but they've got plenty of time to really deny a bit of gathering here, and a few more villagers going down. So Crimson on 51 to Kaspara's 67. He's opened up a little bit of a gap here in the gathering potential. So Cass doesn't actually know about the gardens back there, but he's going to have to run back out anyway. Looks like he's been pretty safe at home, but Crimson smart to try and gather on the low ground behind this, but at the same time he needs to be careful. He does have some proxied structures here, all the way down here on the low ground. Well, not really proxied. Oh, they sort of are, I suppose, but Cass is about to spot them, so this is really going to be a struggle for Crimson defending that, I think. You have to bring his army in, but a lot of it's going to be quite late. He's going to lose one or two of these facilities, or at least one of them. Stables is going to go down. And the Lancers here don't have anything to back them up. They still don't have their champion upgrade yet. Crimson just taking his age 3 now, while Kaspara has had it for a little while now. He's not really got any armory upgrades at all yet either. So Neither player fighting with any armory at this point in time. But Caspara does have that slight tech advantage for now. Does have to retreat ultimately because there is Spear and Bearer in the mix here, so they can sort of deal with this army head on, but they just continually be kited like they are right now, or like they were right then, until Cass completely disengaged. And now Crimson losing a whole bunch more villages. He's down to 45, so he needed to get those guys out of there as soon as he got spotted here. It's really rough for him now, so thanks for the follow, Infamous. And this army of Caspara is maneuvering now. It's going to catch a couple of these scouting lancers, get a couple of free kills. Crimson getting his age 3 now. He does have enough for that Lancer champion. He does have a good number of Lancers, but these Bearers, rather than having mounted archers and more Lancers on the field, is really going to mean that Caspara is going to have a huge mobility advantage right now. Crimson's going to be quite slow in tracking him down now. He's going to lose some houses. Villagers not going to be able to gather. Lancer champion's on the way, but he's a little bit too little, too late, because no market for Crimson. Cass has got his established now. He's got his walls all sorted out now. Crimson's just going to start throwing down his now. Big engage going on now. Caspara up by quite a bit of population. He's bringing the rest of his... Oh, he's bringing some villagers up. I think he's going to go for a forward fortress or forward siege workshop, because he wants to try and puncture any walls that go up here from Crimson, which they are going to start to. Only costing wood here for the Babylonian player, although he can't really spare a hell of a lot more at the moment. He's got more stone than wood in the bank. Caspara noticing there's nothing up here. Perhaps going to get surrounded, because this is not the best spot for him to be caught into. But he's going to probably try and hunker him down into a corner so he can get the best value out of the ranged units. And there's no walls up here on this side, so he can ultimately get out of there without being surrounded, because these Bearers are going to be quite slow. There's no walls, yeah, keeping Caspara penned in right now, but Crimson is going to engage on this army. He's got champion now on these Lancers, so they are going to hit a lot harder, but like I said, this choke is really more range friendly, and the mounted archer is going to get off a really good amount of damage. All of them able to hit targets, mostly Asabara, while this melee army for Crimson, a lot of it's just idle here at the back, getting no value. So Crimson forced to really retreat there, even though Caspara doesn't really have a huge number of units here at the moment. He's still got all these guys down here, so that's a lot of actual population, because both of these are 2-pop units, whereas Crimson's got a lot of 1-pop units in these armies. Caspara getting a lot of value out of these kills. Crimson really running out of resources. The walls aren't quite finished off yet. Cass, for some reason, is gathering a deer right here. I have no idea why. I think he probably meant to focus on the wall, maybe. But Crimson is... Oh, his base is pretty bare. Oh, that's right. This is an expansion town center. I didn't realize for a second. Based off the position, I just thought it was his starting one. This is really rough spot for him. He's on 59 villages to Caspara's 86. He's going to be able to clean this up, though, I think. He's got his own mounted archers. He's got some bowmen in the mix. He probably needs to get champion if he wants to pump a lot of those out, though, because they do start to get expensive. If you don't, considering it's 1 more gold cost on an otherwise gold heavy civ, you know, you don't have to be spending on. But these gold gatherers are all going to get picked off of Crimson's. He is gathering on this low ground, though, so Caspara unaware of that. There is 16 villages there for the taking. These mounted archers, oh, the Lancers don't quite get the hit on the mounted archers, and Caspara going to try and funnel everything into a corner again. Cass was unaware of what's going on over here, but doesn't have that many mounted archers. He's going to pick all that off. We get more villager kills. It's a bit unfortunate he didn't get this for him, but it's great for Crimson, because I think right now he needs to keep every last villager alive. He's already really on the back foot. Once again, he's stuck at 59 villagers. Cass up to 90, so he's cut his villager production right now. And his caravan, getting his upgrades just about maxed out, so he's just biding his time before he adds some more units again. And right now he's getting a lot of value because Crimson slowly marching back in. Once again, with the infantry comp, it's a bit hard for him to really come streaming through. He's going to keep being kited on such a big map, so really without just a massive Lancer mounted archer himself, he's not able to keep chasing here. He sort of needs to have all this army pre-positioned back at home and do his own raiding, I think, in order to be able to take the fights here. But he is getting a good catch here with the bowmen and the mounted archers, so he's going to pick off a couple of Kasparas there. But Kaspara in a really, really nice position. The defensive fort, double wall, the whole way down his base, except for that little bit at the end, but it's got a single wall at least. This time it's Bearer versus mounted archer, so this will be the one good fight that Crimson can take, but Kaspara is just going to kite him with the mounted archers, like I said. He's got that movement speed disparity over the bearers. So Crimson either needs to keep them just on defense or just mount a push with them. But by now I don't know if he's going to be able to do so, considering he's really, quite a little bit behind, I think, here. Kaspara maxed out in age 3 units, has his age 4 now. Crimson, an interesting comp, he has added the chariot archers of his own over his mounted archers. But all his gold gatherers have all been picked off here. So he's down to, 57 villagers. Kaspara dead on 90 still, getting his last wall upgrade. Crimson's still stuck on clay walls, so these walls aren't going to last very long at all. Kaspara punched a hole through his opponent's base, and he's coming through the top side as well to the raid as well. He's denied the market up there. And he's going to back off with these guys, but he's going to hit the second town center while all this is going on. So this is really, really effective raiding here from Kaspara. Just as these farms are finishing up too, so that's really hard hit here for Crimson. He hasn't got a lot of wood in the bank, and he's going to have to replace those farms to keep his food income up. Right now his wall upgrade is kicking in. It's going to mean he's got a bit of a favourable choke here, but I don't know if he's got the units to defend. Kaspara is pretty much maxed out. Crimson is pretty much as well, but he's having to defend on 2 fronts at once, and he's losing villagers. Kaspara's pretty much got an endless amount to spend on here because he's not being raided at all at home. He's just having to make sure he maintains his income. But Crimson, it's a big battle for him up on this high ground. He can't take a market. He can't really get any low ground gold right now, just because Kaspara is mounting so much pressure on him. And this infantry army, once again, it's sort of stuck in a spot where it can't really do a huge amount before Kaspara just micros everything back again. So the Persian player is now going to snipe a lot of the gardens of the Babylonian. So Crimson, a bit of a struggle. No gold in the bank. His food eco is really being hurt right now. Every time he garrisons over here, this really harms his gathering, as well as now all these gardens going down. Doesn't really have the gold to replace them. And Kaspara, it's a little bit laggy. My bad. Kaspara's got a couple of idlers there, but he's going to remass everything. Crimson is doing what he can to keep pushing out units. He's still gathering quite a bit of wood, but once again, one of the markets gets picked off. All these villagers coming to put them up. Handful of those being picked off. The infantry army proving to be a bit of effect now, because it's pretty hard for these guys to keep chipping away at these markets, but not before a couple of villages have gone down. Crimson on 62 villages, Kaspara still, well, he's gone up to 95. He's added another couple of caravans in. We're going to delete some villages soon after adding some more caravans. Crimson just now able to add a market in, so he's been fighting while on the back foot for most of this game, I think. Initially he got some really nice value with that raid with Kaspara, adding the siege workshop, which hasn't been scouted here from Crimson, so this is very, very dangerous. In the meanwhile, he's going to have to defend against a maxed out age 4 player now. Mounted Archer Champion is finished up, so they're costing less gold here for the Persian player as well. So Crimson pretty much out of gold until that market line sits up for a couple of minutes to get some caravans out. GG is called. Crimson taps out. Well played, guys. But Kaspara, really, really strong macro up there on the high ground and some really effective raiding. Well played to both players today. I thought Crimson might break him early there. It was a really, really nice push. He denied that town centre a couple of times, but unfortunately, it was just not to be, my friend. Anyway, guys, GG, well played. We're going to get to the next game in just a moment.
Ahura Mazda bless you.
Alrighty, so EKA versus Crimson Cantab is a go. And this time we have Savannah, so there is no fishing. There is water, no fishing. It's funny, we've had Savannah, Arabia, Savannah today. Sorry, my mic was a little bit down there. But yeah, I was just saying, it's funny, we've had Arabia and 2 games of Savannah so far today. Oh, actually, and Tundra. So we've had a fishing map, followed by 3 with no fishing but with water. Right now. Crimson going for an early barracks. EKA. Right now, looks to be playing for the more defensive option. Crimson going to go straight across and scout. I think. So EKA. Have to be a little bit careful here if he goes. Oh no, he is going to go for a barracks himself. Sorry, there's a big quiet section in that song, so I just decided to skip it. So we've got the barracks going up here for EKA. I mean for... Oh yeah, Crimson's barracks, sorry, is slower. I've had the civs backwards. So, sorry guys, I'll actually introduce the players. And I'll fix up that number. There we go. Alright, so spawning as the Persian player today, sorry, EKA with the faster barracks. Obviously, a little bit civ inclined there. And spawning is the Persian, the Norse player today, sorry, in the orange. We've got Crimson Cantab, so his barracks a little bit slower, but like I said, Norse starting with 50 wood less, 50 food more, so the barracks timing is a little bit slower. Spear coming out here. Crimson. Spar is on the way, if EKA's already got one out. Looks as though Crimson's going to do the more aggressive. Oh, sorry, EKA did actually spot the barracks going up, so EKA just doing a bit more of a macro scout. Crimson starting to do the same with his melee scout, while his range one continues to try and scout for more aggressive options. where he can raid EKA, who's guarding his woodline right now with his Sparrow. This is nice from EKA. He's putting them centrally until he actually gets the numbers to sort of split them up. But the Norse spears are going to come in hot. One of them being caught by the scout, so he's going to stop and take this fight. And they do have a big amount of health. They've got the most out of any spear. Even though they don't have a lot of damage, they've got the most health of any spear. So against scouts they actually fare really well. Against TC fire they actually fare reasonably well. So they are going to go straight on these villages, 3 apiece with the ranged scout in tow. So they are going to force the pullback here from the Norse player, the Persian player, who is going to go from the distant gazelle there at the back. Aid tent on the way. He has trapped one of these spears in the snare lock, so more of them are coming in. And they are going to fight with the ranged scout as well. But EKA rallying straight onto a single spear. I don't know what he's doing here. Sort of selected all these units away for a sec there, and Crimson seizing the advantage, getting everything out there and repositioning to try and kill one of these Sparrow, which he is going to get. So valiant effort there from both players, but EK with a little bit of a misplay, losing one Sparrow there, pulling back into the aid tent range, but Crimson's not going to want to fight under it. He's got the value he needed. He had EKA hold up a little bit on that gathering. He's forced him to commit to the aid tent. It's really only healing the scout at the moment, so... Ooh, but this isn't so good for Crimson. He's got one spear overextended there. He's pulling them all back. So EKA aging up. Crimson not aging up yet. He still needs a fair bit of food, but he's got quite a bit of wood in the bank. What if he's going to go for a forward barracks or something? So this hunt for EKA is going to run out soon, but he is already moving on to a second. He's clearing that all up. So that's good for him. H2 finishing up. He's getting hunting dogs now as well. But he is going to look at needing to get on that gold mine soon if he wants to start producing anything other than 4 more Sparabara. So there is 11 spears here in tow. The Norse player. That's 2 Spara there. And 3 up here, but there's 11 spears here. They're a little bit late, but they are going to be able to get this storehouse. Not really going to offer much other than a healing and watch post facility, but now Crimson's splitting up his spears because he's going to be able to put some pressure on there. Oh no, he's bringing them. Oh, he is going to split them up. He's going to try and pierce both sides of EKA's woodline here. He's forced off the hunt gatherers there, and he's forced off the wood gatherers into an awkward spot. Going to try and take the house and the storehouse. I think he's going to get both by the look of it. So EKA getting picker's gloves, throwing up some more houses back under the TC. And right now he's only got just enough to defend here, but Crimson is in a position to try and force off these gatherers down here now. So EKA housed at the moment until until he gets another house up. Oh, he's finished the H2 town center, so that is nice to see. Crimson's getting his H2 TC now. I mean H up now, and he, well, holy, Crimson has definitely got the stone. Ka-ching, ka-ching, 940 stone in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Amazing stuff here from Crimson. Don't tell me he's going to mass tower. The EKA has spotted that tower there. Oh, he spotted both actually. So he's going to try and interrupt this one up here, but Crimson can always just cancel that. Finish this one up and throw up more, because this is outside of the TC range. EKA is able to actually focus it only just. Oh, impressive stuff that Crimson's not able to get this up. I don't think. Yeah, it's going to get focused now, so EKA able to really deny the cheese. Crimson doesn't have the wood to immediately go for more, so he's going to need to get some throwing axemen and try again, I think, but he definitely has the opportunity up here. If he goes just up here, just outside of the TC range, by another little bit more, another unit's length between the building and the TC, and he would have been safe with that tower, and it would have been able to put pressure on this wood line, would have been able to put pressure on this house, maybe even on the closest berry patch here. But Crimson bringing everything together now. He's got a small population lead over his opponent. He is housed at the moment. Oh, there we go. He's got his house up. Getting his second TC up as well. So EKA, 32 villages. Crimson on 28, but he definitely seems to have everything all his way. He's had continual production out of this barracks the whole time. He hasn't given up at all. And he has a second barracks in play now. EKA getting his stables and a range, but really he probably could have just afforded to go with two ranges, because he really needs to break this Norse melee army right now. Sparrow Champion going to help a little bit, but the Pierce armor is useless. The health is really the only benefit there. As long as Crimson hits before that kicks in, he's really got a huge advantage, because there's only 7 Sparrow guarding, 9 Sparrow guarding at the moment against 8 throwing axemen and 16 spears, so that's a much bigger army here for Crimson. The bowman is starting to trickle in now, but if Crimson pushes before they hit a critical mass, it's going to be a pretty one-sided fight, I think. All the throwing axemen have to do is focus the bowman, and then they can go collapse on the Sparrow and finish the job. Oh, but the aid tent does survive. EKA still has that one gatherer there. Crimson does back out. I don't know why he didn't just commit to that once he saw that EKA was backing off. Just micro a couple of TAs just to focus both of those targets. A couple of free kills. A couple of stables coming out here for Crimson though, so he'll be really able to overwhelm the backline now of EKA. And he really is building towards his opponent. This is nice because it really means he's got all of this area under his control until his opponent gets on to the raiding. But outposts are going to start going up on the outside of his base, I think, and then Crimson can look at even using them to train war hounds and put them back in his army. And if he wants to, he can even split off some warhounds to do a little bit of light harass on one of these hunts or something. Another outpost going to go up here at the back. Really interesting, really creative stuff here from Crimson. And right now he does have a small pop lead over EKA. And hats off to him for playing around warhounds in a show match. What a legend. Actual nutcase. In a good way. This is mad stuff. If this works, oh my goodness. But there is an Asavara raid coming in blind, and it is going to run straight into a big force here. So it's going to take a bit of damage and ultimately have to back out. But has EKA spotted all this? No, he hasn't, but he's going to anticipate that there is something down there, so he's going to do a little run by down near it and ultimately find everything. Crimson gonna... has he spotted that? But he's going to be able to do the same. The Warhound's actually breaking through, putting a bit of pressure on these food gatherers, but with the aid tent, without them all focusing fire on a single target, they're actually not going to be able to get any kills, so they're pretty much going to be a throwaway at the moment. Norse... Persian is probably one of the worst civs to get it against the War Dogs against, just because the A10 is going to undo the damage of a couple of them. Yeah, they only deal 5 damage apiece, so you need 3 of them to really actually start doing any damage to villagers, and then you're only doing 5 damage. So you do really need to have your whole pack of them, and need to have them all focusing one target without, yeah, all going down when they run past the army. But otherwise, really, really nice stuff to see, because Crimson's going to keep trying again, and this time he's focusing up here, and this is really going to distract EKA, because he's now probably going to look at taking a fight. He perhaps shouldn't. Although Crimson really needs to pull his army. Oh no, he's going for a raid with the Raiders and the War Dogs. Well, EKA is pushing into him, so as long as he doesn't lose too much here, I think he can really take a big fight here because EKA is really extended, but at the same time EKA has already killed a lot of units with that bowman fire. But right now, they're going to have to defend against a lot of raiders. 16 raiders there for Crimson, and they are going to tunnel straight onto the bowman. That's a good front line there for EKA, although I think it's mostly Sparrow. There's not really any spearmen in the mix here for him. EKA getting some upgrades behind this. Crimson just down in terms of population, but he's ultimately convincing EKA to back off. EKA has mounted a really nice push here. I thought he mightn't have had enough, but Crimson just had sent so much up there to harass that hunt that he just had lost so much here at the back, the base by the time he got back. He never really had a full army there to fight against EKA, and it really showed because EKA now up by 25 population-ish and picking off these war dogs as they sprint back. So they're not being rallied in the most effective manner to get back home from that top side. I mean, from that lower side of the map. From the top side, they're pretty right. Now EKA going to go for a town center with a single villager. It's good for his eco in a sense. Oh no, he's bringing some more villagers up, so he's going to get that finished up in reasonable time because he's going to have 10. But if you only have 1 to 3, in a sense, you're still going to get the TC just a little bit slower. And meanwhile, you're going to actually have a lot more gathered to actually force out units. So bearing in mind, you can use that to your advantage to actually make some quick pushes in some games or some matchups if you feel like it. Got the markets here for Crimson. I really like these shields too. Spooky. Big army for him though. He's up to 132 pop. I think he's 7 behind EKA now, so he's really caught up on that regard. Okay, not actually producing any army at the moment. He's got handcart and horsemanship here, but he's not getting any army at the moment. It's going to hurt him a little bit because Crimson is adding some more army. Although even still he could do with adding some more himself. He's trying to get his age 3 though. So I think he was sort of cutting his spending a little bit for that. But he is adding some more raiders now, so okay, in the meanwhile, getting some more production facilities. He wants to add some more mortal camps here. So Crimson gonna raid with a scout and some raiders. The storehouse hasn't actually finished up there, EKA. Garrisoning 18 villages as well, so this is going to slow down his gathering quite a substantial amount. He's on 79 villages, Crimson's on 69, so he is ahead in that regard. He's doing pretty well for himself, but right now Crimson being a big pest with these with these raiders. He's doing a good job of it too. They're on 11.5 speed to, well, the Asabara on 11.5 as well, but Norse player can definitely squeeze them out a little bit easier because they're a bit cheaper of a unit. They are only a 1 pop unit with some war dogs here in the mix and some spears. Like these Asabara are probably going to be done for, but at the same time, EKA mounting a push. He's got spear champion kicking in. He's got his age 2 melee damage here. He's got some mounted archers in the mix here as well with the age 2 range damage upgrade. It's right where Crimson's market line is as well, so Crimson has a whole bunch of raiders inside EKA's base right now, so he's really being a big threat to the gathering. At the same time, EKA has so much food in the bank, not enough wood, and he is proving a big threat to Crimson here because he is wiping out a lot of the storehouses at the moment. He does have these spears here, so this makes it hard for any raiders to take this fight. So really, Crimson probably would have been best off just rallying them out, because this ranged army here is pretty safe to retreat now that there isn't a huge number of raiders to track them down. But more raiders are up here, proving to be a big pest, trying to kill some of these food gatherers. They are going to get some of them. I do like how open this map is. So horsemen joining the mix now, and more raiders. It's 6 stables right here for Crimson. We've got all of his infantry back here. He's going to try and mount another raid against EKA, who's got, again, a lot of food in the bank, but not a lot of wood. And isn't quite maxed out. Crimson's not quite maxed out himself either. That player's pretty neck and neck in terms of score. I just think EKA's got a bit of a bigger bank, but it is, again, a bit of a lopsided bank. There are some horsemen in the mix here now, so this is going to prove to be a challenge. And oh, this is a nice catch here for EKA. I was going to say for Crimson, but he's got so many immortals, Roman and mounted archers there in the mix. But in saying that, ooh, the melee fight there really going Crimson's way, so now he's really surrounding EKA once again in the fight. No real front line for EKA at the moment. While Crimson able to attack the gold miners with a little bit of breathing space here while he moves in with raiders and horsemen. So the raiders are going to be of great effect because these mounted archers aren't going to just be able to sit at this in a big cluster like that. Gold mine finishing up there for EKA as well, so he still has 11 gold mine gatherers, so he's not doing too badly. Going to throw up another immortal camp if he can do so. Crimson still has those watch posts all around EKA's base, and meanwhile EKA seems to be cleaning up this fight because these raiders and horsemen are focusing the front line rather than going straight onto the mounted archers and then worrying about everything else later. This outpost is unfinished, so Crimson could even just delete that and spend the wood elsewhere. He's going to look at taking some of these herdables up here. He's done a good job of getting eco-techs. Crimson's always a good job at eco-techs. EKA, much the same, getting every eco-tech available to him, both players in Age 3, so phenomenal stuff there. EKA getting some more armory upgrades and combined arms. Crimson, at the moment, doesn't really seem to be adding many more upgrades, just adding more units. He's still lagging a bit in terms of population. He's on 89 villages to 80 though, so he's sort of won back that position over EKA, and he's going to continue to harass his opponent, deny some gold gathering. The spears running into the raiders like that's not so good for Crimson because those spears are going to trade cost effectively there. But it is 2 to 4. And oh, some more units of Crimson's being caught out here by EKA's bigger army, but at the same time, Crimson has this little raiding force running around dealing a bit of damage. And some more raiders inside EKA's base. Ooh, he's unfortunate to not get that villager. EKA on 77 to Crimson's 90, who is walling up now. EKA has mounted archers inside Crimson's base though, so he's going to need to use his raiders here. Probably even get the mounted archers, get the horsemen out of the mix just to make the raiders run at their max speed so they can actually catch the mounted archers because they are 0.5 speed faster. And he really probably needs to just focus on using the horsemen to harass and try and force a Asabara v horseman defense from EKA in this position because EKA is just going to keep kiting him with the mounted archers at this rate, I think. And he does have a nice number of immortals to really deny any infantry play here from the Norse player, but at the same time, like I said, I think if Crimson just beelines the raiders straight on the mounted archers and uses the horsemen, maybe with some dogs, to put pressure on the Norse player constantly, can keep him in a state of having to play catch up with the aggression. Though he's doing a wonderful job at these walls, Crimson. He's really going to be able to force his opponent to have to attack him right here at this cluster of stables where this tower and TC are. But in saying that, EKA finding the gaps with his mounted archers, he's picking off some more villagers, forcing some more garrisons. Crimson 107 villagers to EKA's 79. EKA taking an age up now. So I really like the position EKA is actually in. He really only needs to get a little bit of gold, and meanwhile he can really push into Crimson with the age 4 advantage, take the age 4 techs. Just, yeah, it's really taking a nice fight here. Crimson all of a sudden losing a lot of population there. He is able to keep affording remaxing behind this, but he's never going to be able to amass the army he needs to take the fight. I don't know if he realizes he's at 108 gatherer population right now, and he does have a lot of idlers as well, so they're not really contributing anything to his army or to his eco at all. But he does have this nice defensive fort, so EKA is really only going to get this town center and a couple of production facilities in that house, I think. But aging up now, he's going to be able to take a mortal champ, he's going to be able to take mounted archer champ and his age 4 armory upgrades. Crimson not really able to mount a huge assault. He probably needs to add in berserkers or Hajars in the mix, as well as get his bowmen as well, because he really needs to get some range. He really needs to get some units with a high amount of armor just to tank stuff that aren't necessarily his cavalry at this point, so he can just use them to try and beeline again onto the Asabara and the mounted archers, so we can really whittle at EKA's backline there and take out the archers for free after that. But right now it's all just not working out for him because EKA is mounting the pressure. He's moving up with these siege workshop. He's getting his 4th town center at his market line, so that's really going to allow for him to have a nice amount of defensive capability with that. You know, he's got that basically a proto fort sitting up there next to those markets, and right now Crimson is really sort of stuck rallying his cavalry around while he's just dropping units against his opponent. EKA just finding targets to hit and forcing Crimson to have to garrison in the town center right now. So things are looking a bit rough for him. He is gathering really, really well right now though. He's got 91 villages still, whereas EKA is still only on 79, but at the same time Crimson needs to shoot up in terms of army population, because right now, even if he maxes out, he's still down in terms of population. Well, maxes out with what he's got in the queue, he's still down in terms of population. EKA at 180 out of 200. Crimson down at 140 out of 150, so things aren't doing so well for him. EKA pushing in further and further. This defensive fortress getting a little bit of value, but Crimson really having to scramble to throw up production in amongst this little base of his, because his other base, it seems to all be gone. He probably even needs to try and rally these villages out just to get what he can out of them. At the moment they're just locking up population, not getting any value, although he is able to finally force EKA to take a fight. He is getting some Hajars in the mix. He is still getting the Raiders and a couple of throwing Axemen. So a nice mix of units here now. And he's really sandwiched EKA inside his base, who's running through and dropping most of these units. So it's a bit unfortunate for EKA, but Crimson's really turning the tide in the fight now. A lot of units being produced right now, and he's in a really healthy worker count at 93. Ideally, you probably want to sit between 85 and 95. Anything above it's too much. You just can't take fights because you don't have the army size. Anything below it, you just sort of risk ultimately running out of resources in the back and forth of things. So right now Crimson in a perfect spot. He's up to 97 villages. I think he's going to stop there. He's picking off some more of EKA's, but now he's going to have to come back because there's a whole bunch of villages inside his base which he wants to try and deal with, because they were going for, I think, a gold mine down here. At the same time, all the rams are going to hit the fortress. Was this a bait by EKA, or what's he doing? This is... I think there was a gold mine there and he just didn't realise that Crimson has taken it already and finished it off. But all the ram gambit almost paying off here for EKA. Although this fortress is going to survive. It is quite low. And EKA is throwing down stables inside Crimson's base, which is really strange. EKA actually getting close combat expertise right now. He's still on the doorstep of Crimson, so as long as he keeps him busy enough, maybe this will go off unscouted to the point where he at least gets an Asabara or two out of it. And then he can, I guess, always cancel the other stables and try and throw another one up here somewhere. Crimson's going to have to look at walling this up now, because he is chopping through that little wood line, so... I do like his base layout. I do actually really like EKA's as well. Both players with some really, really nice base setups. EKA again. Maxed out. Crimson not quite maxed out, but he has found this little stables proxy and he's going to clean it up. But EKA still sitting on his doorstep. I thought he might go for a bit of harass there because Crimson still has that top bit of this base open. It's a huge number of raiders at 33, and then there is 8 horsemen as well, so Crimson just gonna snipe villagers for now. Although he's gonna catch a whole bunch of mounted archers here, so this is really nice. Oh, he is retreating actually. Does have raided champ, but he is trailing by an upgrade overall. He doesn't have melee damage or melee. Well, actually, yeah. Well, yeah, he is trailing by 1 actual upgrade overall, but it's not really of any effect in this fight. But he is bleeding raiders while he tries to move through here. Perhaps he was best off just surrounding the mounted archers to begin with the raiders, because the mounted archers are going to take all them down for free. So perhaps a handful of skirmishes to try and actually fight them cost effectively. Draw them out and use the skirmishes or something like that. Perhaps that's the best way to go, guys. Now EKA looking to put the final nails in the coffin, but Crimson, he's going to have none of it. He's actually transitioned onto the Alfs, so he's going to really be able to use the fact that they're going to have a nice ability to counter both Asabara and Cataphracts and Mounted Archers. They're really only going to be a threat against... They're really only going to struggle against Immortals, in a sense. So Crimson's adding Bowmen, getting Alphadens. So he's really going to be able to take a nice fight there, but at the same time he's having to defend at his caravan line. But EKA, I think, has thrown away a lot of these Asabara here. Crimson 92 villages to EKA's 86. Good garrison there from Crimson. Good idea to do so. He's going to have to bring units back here to defend this, which he's bringing some of these elves. These guys are going to have a good chance against these mounted archers. A nice amount of pierce armor, and they're really going to deal with a good amount of damage against the mounted archers who are unsuccessful at getting the villagers. It's a nice fortress here from EKA though, because it's really hindering Crimson's attempt to gather all the stone, all the food up here, and really lock him down into this quadrant of the map. A couple of the elves dying for free there, but Crimson, oh, is it 180 pop? Just waiting for close combat expertise to kick in. EKA trying to get some upgrades himself. Cataphract v Ulf is a really strange fight, but I think it ultimately does favour the Persian just because the Cataphracts have so much health. EKA going to push into Crimson here. Berserkers, not really enough of them to be a critical mass, and just not really enough horsemen to tear through the Cataphracts here. Crimson, he's found a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. He's still squeezing in Age 4 eco techs. He's still pumping out units. He's on 145 pop. EKA is still maxed out though, so he's still in a really dominant position, I think, here. And now he's harassing where Crimson's trying to throw up a defensive fortress here, and if this doesn't go up, Crimson's pretty exposed here with the market line just running behind this, so it's a nice catch here from EKA to slow that down. Crimson barely able to afford getting both villages and ulfs, so this is good for EKA, even though not the most cost-effective trade there for him. But the fortress ultimately does go up, so Crimson does react in time to defend that well. Crimson going for a little raid here himself with just horsemen. Straight onto the market line of EKA. EKA getting Palantone on champion, so he's going to be able to do a hefty amount of siege damage with that. Got a lot of range on those Palintinons, so he's not going to have to leapfrog on them anywhere near as much. Well, EKA having to bring back most of his mounted archers to deal with this. But these horsemen, they can't fight this forever, they can't stick around. Mounted archers do counter them. They really need to be back here against these cataphracts, which are focusing down Crimson's town centers. One of them's going to go down here, I think. These others are safe for now, but he's going to lose a lot of stuff here. In the meanwhile, this fortress attempt going down. Unfortunately for Crimson, and he's falling further and further behind in score. He's finding it hard to keep gathering the food, but he needs to keep producing the army to actually keep his opponent out of his base. These cataphracts are really tanky unit. Really strong unit, but Crimson probably could do with a mix of horsemen and a ranged backline to be able to deal with them, I think. He does have horseman champion now, so he does get that ×3 multiplier up from ×2 against the cataphract, so he can finally actually start taking them head on really cost effectively. But now he's having to defend against Palintinons, chipping away at all of his structures. This Berserker, I don't know if he's going to be able to get this. Doesn't get it in time, it's on 1 HP! And the... Oh, okay, here we go. Crimson does manage to pick it off in time. EKA has a huge bank right now. This is phenomenal eco from him behind this. He's on 80 villages. Crimson on 60 right now. Still finds a way to fund an army behind this, but he's on 110 population. He's down by about 80. There's Rams in the mix here from EKA. Age 4 upgrades finishing off for him, so things are really getting a bit drastic here for Crimson. He is Age 4 himself, but he hasn't got any Age 4 armory upgrades at all, so it's really harming him. As a Norse player, he really wants to get that age, whatever age, melee upgrade as quickly as he can, because melee damage on your Norse, you're always going to be making use of it, and then your armor upgrades on Norse are always really nice to have as well, so he's really starting to trail by that, and his armories are being sniped here by EKA while his main base is being pushed into, and EKA is just splitting him wide open right now. Although this little run by isn't really getting any value just yet. It's going to go straight on this caravan line now and finally start getting a bit of kills. Crimson cleans up the Rams there, but not before they take out a house, not before they take out both armories. So Crimson's going to have a bit of a struggle here in catching up in his armory upgrades. His town centre down here is a little bit worse for wear right now. His markets are being focused. I think he's going to lose them first and foremost. He does have the wood to replace them though. But he's going to have to find a safe spot for them and get as many caravans out as he can. Get that market line going again. EKA really keeping him hot on his heels, but EKA is going to have to keep these guys alive as long as he can while he mounts, gets his army ready to mount up another push, because even though he's got a big bank, he taps out. Crimson is GG'd. Well played there from both players, but EKA, well, really strong stuff. Well played. I think it might be a bit late for me to play against... Oh, actually, no, I've got time. Tomorrow's a Sunday. I don't start for an hour later, so I do have time to play. But I'll just have to see if Crimson's able to play. If not, I might play EKA. I'll see what's happening. I'll find out what the go is. Alright, so we've got Egypt versus Kelt. Here we go, buddy. What map is it? Hey Max. Alright, well the water is topside then. Got it trapped.
Ro, so.
Oh, it's fucking summoned up. Nice. GG to Crimson. Sorry about cheesing him, man. That was probably a bit bad manner considering he's just come off the back of the other two losses. But yeah, GG, well played to him. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys later, eh? Thanks for watching. But I better head to bed soon because I head to work tomorrow. Yeah, see you around.